Okay, well, hopefully we'll get a few other folks to join us,
Yeah, yeah.
and
We are live.
we're this is let's see, my name is our channel is Rocket Rick J18, and my guest star tonight is Orlando, a collector's dream, and we're going to talk about Mickey Mantle, which is my favorite subject in baseball card collecting. And I think it might be yours too, Orlando. Is that right?
Yes, it is. The
Okay.
first player I collected.
Well,
Still my
uh,
favorite.
we're in for a treat because Orlando has some great Mickey Mantle cards, and and I'm sure you have some picked out to show. And I thought what we'd do is look at your run of base cards from the Tops and Bowman sets, and then anything else you want to show us, and then we can talk about as we go along. You can talk about a little bit about your thoughts and strategies that you considered as you were collecting them and getting them organized, and then another thing that I'd like to talk about is if you didn't already have one, what would what kind of thoughts would run through your head in terms of considering how to get a 52 tops mantle? I think that's another thing I'd like to talk about. So
Yeah, that's always the big question. And
yeah, it is, and I
I
and
think,
I and
you know,
I'm thinking about it, so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
uppermost on my mind.
Well, let's get to that. For the people that are live, I'm Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and yes, I am a Mantle fan, and Rick and I've been talking for like the last 15 minutes already off the air and stuff, and I got to tell you, first of all, Rick, thank you for having me on. It's been awesome, and meeting you out there at the National. We walked the floor together and spent some time. I mean, we really got a chance to get to know each other, and I really enjoyed that because I remember when you first started your channel, uh, you had like nobody.
Yeah,
How
I
many?
I think when I went to the national, I might have been still under 50.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I gave you a shout out at that time.
Yeah,
And you told me, hey, let's get together at the National, and I'm
yeah.
just happy that we did. So you
Oh,
got an awesome collection, and I just wanted to let everybody know that if you haven't followed Rick, 'cause some people may come from my channel that haven't followed you. I'm sure everybody does, but if whoever doesn't follow you, to follow you, you've got an incredible collection, awesome sets, and a Mantle fan. So
well,
anyway, back to
I think I told you, and I know I said it once on a video. When I was putting together the sets that I have, I usually started out with the mantle card. I'd get that first because I figured, that's going to be one of, if not the most expensive card in the set, and this was a little bit before the rookie card craze. So some of these things like the Ryan, you can't hardly touch for I don't know how much of what a minimum would cost, but you'd have it's more its values more than the mantle card now. But that
yeah.
wasn't true when I started collecting.
No, I mean when I was a kid, and I came to this country in 1960 from Cuba, and I was a kid, and I grew up here, and I grew up with baseball here. Played little league, just like everybody else. And
How,
Mantle
how,
was
how
always
old
the
were you?
one.
How old were you, Orlando, when you came?
When I came, I was 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yeah, so I grew up here. I went to
Yeah,
school here, and
yeah.
grew up just American.
Well,
I really don't.
I was born here, but then my dad worked overseas, and so I spent the first 5 years of my life somewhere else, not in the United States. And
Mm.
you know, when I came back to the States, I was 5, and
Yeah.
so I didn't know anything about baseball when I came back, or any other
Yeah.
sport for that matter. You know, just I was
Yeah.
just a little kid.
Similar age. For
Yeah,
me, I just really well in Cuba. You grew up with baseball,
yeah,
but so I did. When I was little, you kind of remember that. But when I came here, I just didn't speak any English at all.
hmm,
That's mainly the main thing I remember. Everybody spoke a different language in me, and it was kind of very, very difficult. And I moved to Miami when there were no Cubans in Miami, and it was kind of it was tough. So
yeah,
you grew up in really what now is a bad area. I grew up near Overtown area, which is not a
okay,
good area here. And back in the days, that's where you were. But anyways, when we came from Cuba, and I started in school here, and eventually started playing little league baseball, and had some friends that also played, and they collected cards. And
yeah,
Mantle was the man in those days.
oh
You
yeah,
remember those days? The only time that you really could watch, you had three channels. The only time you could watch baseball was the weekly game that they would put on, and
right,
most of the time it was the Yankee game.
yeah,
So it wasn't like they put the Pirates in Clemente. You rarely even saw Clemente play until the when they went into the World Series.
in the World
You know,
Series, yeah,
but Mantle and the Yankees were always on TV. Were on TV the most, and in those days they were still winners and stuff. So you became a Yankee fan. You kind of became a Mantle fan, and that's kind of where I started. And going back to your set collecting and things like that, that's where I started.
yeah,
And when I started, I did the same thing you did. I started with the stars, the Mantle first, because that was the main card. That's the
yeah,
one I wanted. That was my number one player. Like maybe Trout is today to the younger people. That was Mantle was it. So
yeah.
um,
He was the man.
what I was a set builder, and I built almost every set from the 50s and 60s, and I still own all the sets from the 70s that I had built. But I ended up going back to the question on the Mantle. You get to a point where there's 21 cards on the PSA registry to complete the Mantle run.
Yeah,
And I had completed three other sets on that registry, and which is the Goodwin Champions and the 49 Leaf Premium. And I looked at that registry, and there was one card missing. For 20 years, that one card was that 52 Topps Mantle.
yeah,
And I've always wanted it, and I had chances to buy it, but it was I always said it was too expensive, and continued to say it was too expensive, and passed it up. I should have bought it many years before that.
yeah.
But
You know, I just tell you a real
eventually,
quick
what I
story.
it,
I had an opportunity to buy one in poor condition, and I said I'll go up to $1,000. Now, bear in mind, at the time that I was bidding on this card for $1,000, I'd never paid over $200 for any card,
right,
including the other Mantle cards that I had.
yeah,
So when it got to $1,000, I said, "That's it. I can't. I'm not going any higher." And I walked away from it. And boy, I really regret that now. I'd love to have
yeah.
that card now.
Same thing with me. I had a chance to buy one. It had a bad water stain on the bottom, but the card was sharp, and I just, it was like a couple $1,000s, and I passed it up.
Yeah,
But anyway, to make a long story short, Rick, I ended up, my goal was to eventually just get it somehow, some way. And like some people on YouTube, like uh, those back pages, he picked one up at the National. He traded away a lot of his stuff,
yeah.
Aaron
It's like
rookies and things like that. Aaron went
25 or
all out.
26 cards, and I think two of them were Aaron rookies. I mean, it
Yeah,
was really some
yeah,
big cards.
some
Uh,
big cards.
yeah,
So what I essentially, what I ended up doing was saying, what am I, what am I going to go for here in my life? You know, getting into my 60s at that point, and I said, you know, I've got to condense my cards, and I have tons of sets. So I sold off most of my sets, you know, kind of looked and built a fund there, and just did what I had to do to get that card. So I no longer have my 53 Bowman set, you know, other than the mantle.
Yeah,
I kept the mantle from all the sets, of course, you know,
sure.
but, you know, I sold my 53 Bowman, I had almost all the 53 top set.
Yeah,
I had which you have the 53 top set. I mean, 57 tops, 58 tops, 60, 63 set. I sold off all those sets. I kept a few. I kept the 62, which I love. But the bottom line was I went for the mantle. I said, I'm going to get one when I find the right one that I could afford, you
yeah.
know? So
Oh, yeah,
for years, I mean, I started looking, you know, it took me at least 5 years to find the one. Once I was ready to do it to find the right one, you
yeah,
know, and I had chances, but you know, I don't know, I just kept hesitating, and then finally, I found the one that I could get and I could afford and I could buy, and I'm going to show it now just to get that off. Do we have? I don't know if we have people watching. I'll show it later
well,
again, but
yeah. Let me just real quickly. Hammer 44 has joined us. God is
oh,
great,
hammer.
and 3D80s kid John. Hello to all of you, and welcome. As we said right at the outset, we're going to be talking about Mickey Mantle and Mickey Mantle collecting for the next 45 minutes or so, or wherever we are. And I guess, yeah, about 45 minutes. And we had a last minute cancellation due to illness.
Yeah,
Adam, Splendid Sports, was going to join us too and talk about the Mick. But unfortunately, his whole family's sick, and so we wish him a speedy recovery, and we'll do something later on. I'm hoping. So, well, show us some cards, Orlando.
yeah. So yes, what well wishes to Adam. I hope he gets well in his family also, and Adam has an incredible mantle collection, and it would have been great to have him here also because he's got the whole mantle run, and he's also a huge mantle fan,
Yeah,
and he's got a lot of stuff that we don't have. He's also has modern mantle cards,
yeah.
rare ones too. So I would have loved to talk a little bit about that too. But yeah, but so getting back to the mantle, you know, I was able to pick up just the most beautiful mantle you could ever imagine.
It's gorgeous.
It's a stunning mantle. I had been looking through auctions and auctions, and this card, people were scared to bid on it because it's altered, but it's really not. It's a it's a it's a minimum size.
Right.
It didn't meet the minimum
And
size, but
isn't that something that, just for a millimeter or two difference, your
yeah,
$12 million card is
yeah, less
something
than
like
an
that.
it's like less than an eighth of an inch
Yeah,
short.
yeah.
So it's like crazy.
That,
So I
that's
went all
insane.
out on this one. I even called the owner of the auction because I wanted to know the story on the card and everything like that. And thank God he shared it with me. And I've talked to him, he's one of the auction houses, and I've talked to the owner twice already in this national and last national, and I consigned some cards to him on this national. So some of
Uh-huh.
my cards are coming up for auction later on. But anyway, that was you know, that really completed my collection, and you know, I do still collect other cards, but that was my mantle grail card that I will never ever sell, and I have the whole
Right.
run. And just now everything on my PSA registry says items needed, 0 items needed, and I'm
Yeah,
happy about that.
yeah.
All my sets are complete.
That's
So let's show some
beautiful.
more mantle cards, right? I'm gonna go
Absolutely.
ahead and let's start with the 69, which is his last year. And I'll talk a little bit about Mantle and why. Mantle was not the greatest player ever, but he was probably the most beloved player. Like a Ken Griffey Jr. was in
Yeah.
this generation. I compare him to that. He was always well liked, and this is a '69, and there's two versions of this. There's the white letter and the yellow letter, and the white is the rarer version. This is the regular version.
Right.
And for the Mantle run, there's 21 cards needed. It's the basic Mantle run. It's not the it doesn't have the all-star cards and all that. And what I like about this is it has his complete stats for all his 536 home runs, all his complete stats.
Yep.
And so that's a card that I like to get that and have the complete stats of the player. But Mantle, was raised to be a ball player by his dad and his grandfather.
Yeah.
And he had two other brothers, twin brothers, and he was from Oklahoma, and a country boy, just a good old American country kid.
Yeah.
And his father was a big baseball fan, and he was a big fan of Mickey Cochran. So he named his son after Mickey Cochran. So that's
Yeah.
why he was named Mickey Mantle. And here's a '68 card.
Yeah.
And that's a standard. You'll see that pose in some other of his cards. That's kind of a standard pose that he shares. And the back of this one has the vertical stats with the little cartoon and stuff. I love the cards that have little cartoons on the back. And
Yeah.
most people don't show the back of the cards. I look at the back of the cards. I used to read the whole back of the card all the time.
We used to spend hours.
Yes,
Pouring
we looked at
over
the back
it,
more than
memorizing
the front.
statistics. Elsewise, how would I know that Norm Cash batted .361 in 1960?
Exactly.
That's
Who reported that?
That's my Alzheimer's test. As long as I can remember that, I think I'm good to go.
So
Hey,
here's
did you ever see Mickey's speech on the year that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. Anybody?
Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube. I don't remember it live.
I think he says something in there like he said, I was named after a ball player, Mickey Cochran. My dad really liked him a lot. I said, I later found out his real name was Gordon. I said, I don't know if my dad knew his name was Gordon, but I'm kind of glad I'm not named Gordon.
That's a great story. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
But his dad wanted him to be a switch hitter.
Yeah.
And he was actually taught from when he was young to be a switch hitter.
Yeah.
And his dad would.
I think his grandfather was left-handed.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
His father would pitch to him right-handed, and his grandfather would pitch to him left-handed.
Yep.
And he'd have to be a switch hitter. They forced him to be a switch hitter, and he's the only player. I think he's the only player still that hit 150 home runs, batting right-handed, over 150, and over 150 batting left-hand. Both ways, he's hit over 150 home runs.
Yeah.
A true switch hitter.
Right. Yeah.
And when he was in high school, he was a big-time athlete. He played basketball and football.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a star halfback for his high school team. And one of the things that happened to him, his first big injury was playing football.
Yeah.
That he got a bad injury. I think it was really bad. It was like, I think somebody either kicked him or something in the leg or in the knee or something bad happened. And then he got some type of infection.
Yeah.
And in those days, they didn't know how to cure the infection. And they thought about even amputating his leg. But eventually they were able to cure him. But yeah, he had a bad leg back then even.
It's unbelievable the bad luck that he had with leg injuries, especially because they said when he came up he was maybe the fastest guy in the major leagues.
They said he was the fastest guy, and it was the most powerful guy, and
Yeah,
he had it all. I mean, the guy
he
was
did.
just incredible. Here's his
He he was blessed and cursed at the same time.
yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about the cursed
Yeah,
about his life here. So that's a nice portrait shot of the Mick. Some people don't like this card. They maybe say it's too plain, but for me, I just I like it. I like it. He's like sitting in the dugout there, and of course the back is nice too because it has the stats and it has the little cartoon there,
yeah,
little cartoons about him. So
beautiful card.
yeah, I just it's a this is a nice set too. I like that set. And
I do too. I think it's one of the prettiest sets in the '60s.
yeah, yeah. One of the ones that is not as pretty is the 66.
'66. Yeah. Well,
And it kind
there's
of,
your pose again.
yeah, it's almost the same pose as this,
It's very
so
close. Yeah.
yeah. And then you have another one that it's also coming up kind of similar, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's but this is it's still, he's there like in the Yankee Stadium, so it's it's a classic Mantle pose, and the back is the kind of like the orange pink color and a little cartoon in the back there.
You
So,
were
but that's
talking
another nice.
about his switch hitting prowess. I think I'm going to recount a story real quickly, but he I believe the scout who went to see him when he was still in high school was Tom Greenwade, and so where he was playing, they had out in, I guess, right center field, or maybe towards center field, had a creek that ran out there, beyond the fence, and so he said the first time he came up right-handed, and he had a home run into that creek. I mean, it was really a pretty well hit ball. I mean, again, kid's not even graduated from high school at this point. Then he came up left-handed later on in the game and hit one over the creek. And so
Incredible.
Green, Greenwade said, "Well, I got to
Yeah,
sign this kid."
yeah.
So
I'm
they,
telling you, he's a legend, and people don't know. A lot of young people don't know, and people say, why is he such a, why is he in such a demand, or why is his card prices so high? And
yeah.
it's those kind of stories, those kind of things that
Oh, it's just
you know,
legend
hitting it out
after
of a
legend.
stadium and hitting a 600-foot home
Yeah,
run, and I mean those are stuff
just
of
crazy
legends, and
stuff.
it's crazy. I mean, and when he came on, DiMaggio was last year.
That's right. Yeah,
He was leaving already, and DiMaggio was not a big fan of Mick because Mickey was number one. I mean, everybody knew he was the star. He was
yeah,
the upcoming guy. He was, he was it.
yeah.
The good old boy from Oklahoma coming in here, powerful guy, and he was fast. So what ended up happening was that one of the games, I don't remember which one it was, near the end of the season, I think it was, that somebody did a short fly ball, and Mantle came running to catch that ball. He
Yeah.
calls it and calls it, and then right at the end, DiMaggio calls for the ball. Mantle slows down, and that's when he stuck his cleat into the sprinkler, and he tore his knee ligaments at that time.
That's a terrific story, and I think it was a game one of the World Series, though, and
I think it was.
I believe the guy that hit the ball was Willie Mays. So it has
You got a better memory than
a
me.
lot of other features to it. It's just a crazy story, and
It's a
he
crazy thing because it's one of those things that
yeah,
he let DiMaggio get it, even though he
yeah,
probably could have got it easier. They say he had the ball
yeah,
basically, but DiMaggio wanted to get that ball, and probably because it was Mays batting there. That's but those are the kind of stories that and you're talking 1951.
right.
They didn't have knee surgery like they do
No,
today. he had to rehab, somehow, some way that whole year because he came back the next year and he was
yeah,
just
yeah,
strong as ever. But yeah, he had lost, obviously, he has lost some of his speed at that
yeah,
time and all that. But those are the stories that, really, the more you read about Mantle, the more you kind of like him.
yeah.
Here's
You
one of
know,
my favorites here. Go
just
ahead, Rick. You can
before you
talk.
before you go off that one, just one other thing about the circumstances of that first knee injury. He was in the hospital and in the same room as his dad, who was at that point was dying of cancer. He'd been a lead miner. That's how he
Yeah,
made his living, and all the Mantle men died young, uh,
yeah,
but. Uh, and that's part of another story. But uh, the thing about being in the hospital there, they said that when he was coming out of the hospital, um, they they he kind of was walking with his dad, and uh, his dad was so weak. Uh, Mickey stumbled a little bit and went to lean on his dad, and his dad just collapsed. I mean, he was so weakened from the cancer and everything. But just that, I think a lot of those human interest stories that you hear about him and how he grew up, and his dad died, when he was still not even 20 years old or 20. It just, really, he had that character that made you sympathize with him or empathize, I guess maybe is the right word. Not really
yeah.
quite sure. I never really understood the difference between those two. uh,
Yeah, but you're right, Rick, and he did have he thought he was going to die young
yeah,
because his other family members had all passed away young, and eventually he said, that's why he drank a lot because he's I'm going to pass away young anyway,
yeah,
and he did pass away relatively young also. But it's those human interest stories that really you know it just makes him human like all of us.
hmm,
Things happen, and bad
absolutely.
things happen. Bad things happen to good people, and a lot of things happened to him. And he wasn't one of the yeah, he slept around with women, he drank like a fish, but I see he really had a good heart.
Yeah,
He was the type of person that he would autograph for everybody, all the kids. He would talk to the kids. He loved the kids, and those are the type of things that people remember about him.
yeah,
And he was one of those good guys in baseball that has good stories. And if you like the history of baseball, Mantle has to be included in one of the more historic players ever, and a legend.
yeah.
During those years. I mean,
Well, I think,
he did it all statistically.
yeah,
Uh, the home runs. He ended up, I think, a 298 batting average, almost 300. He, you know, he was just the World Series. So many World Series that he won. Most valuable players, the Triple Crowns, the
yeah,
Gold Glove Awards, the All Star games. I mean, he was in every All Star game that I could remember watching when I was a kid.
yeah,
So it was just it, it's just here's his 1965 card, and a lot of people like this card. I'm a fan of this one here.
yeah. I'm
The
not
pennant.
really a fan of the pink color, but it's a
Yeah,
beautiful picture, though.
yeah, it's a nice picture, and the pennant there.
Yeah, the Yankees and the Pirates both got pink. And I was
Yeah,
thinking, I wish that they could have gotten a different color, but
they definitely didn't do the color matching back in the
no,
day.
that doesn't go with the pinstripes.
No. Here's another one. This is the 64.
Yeah,
And this
that's
is,
another
I
beautiful.
like this because it looks like he's a Yankee Stadium in the background there. And the Yankees logo, name is just so prominent in that card.
Hmm. Yep.
And
for
that's just
sure.
got the pink back with a lot of the stats.
Yeah.
You know, when we were young, we liked those. Says, oh, it
He,
doesn't have little comics, yeah, but he's a
he's
star. His
he's
card's full of stats. You
yeah.
knew he was one of the future Hall of Famers. You know.
He said on in some interview that I saw, I don't remember which one now, but that he didn't he hardly got a decent pitch to hit after 1964 because the team was so bad.
Yes.
And they went from winning the pennant in 64 to finishing sixth out of 8 teams
Yeah.
in 65 and dead last in 66. So
Yeah.
it was not
Yeah.
a good time
No.
for the Yankees.
In my last year, my birthday, my daughter gave me a book of photographs, and a lot of them were of Mantle.
Hmm.
And on the cover was Mantle. He had struck out, and it was him flipping his hat out. It's
Yep.
become a famous photo. Him flipping the hat, the helmet off,
Just
upset
disgusted with himself.
because he had just popped up, and they were having a horrible year, and he was just disgusted at the end of the
Yeah.
year. And it was the end of his career too, so he was kind of frustrated also. Here's the 1963.
I think personally, I think that's his best looking card. I just love that card.
Here's the back.
Yeah. Hey, Stukes joined us,
Great.
and I see someone down there who's they don't have a channel, but they do have a YouTube account.
I should.
That's referred to as J, and that's the J in Rocket Rick J18. That's my wife.
Oh,
So she's watching.
awesome.
Although by now maybe she's given up. So I'm not
Okay,
sure if you're still there or not. Let us know.
yeah, I'm putting it over. I put it on my iPad so I can see some of the chat here. So I see
Yeah,
we have Hammer, we got Stooks,
yeah,
we got 3D80. So thank you guys. Thanks for
yeah,
showing up there. So we've just been reminiscing about Mantle, talking about Mantle and
yeah.
the stories of Mantle. And one of my favorite Mantles is the '62 Mantle.
Oh yeah,
I just love that. When I was young, my room had that wood paneling that they used to have back in the day,
yes, sir.
and the shag carpet,
Yeah, of course.
and it looks like you had this. It looks like the wood paneling here, and it looks like a poster that's put on the wood paneling with the little corner flipping up. So
Yeah,
to me, it's a classic card on a classic pose. So that's one of my favorite. And here's the back. And the back is great because it has a little cartoon here.
yeah. It just doesn't. It didn't have the the all of the individual year statistics. It just has the previous year and then the total up
Right.
to that point. So
Yeah, at one point they got, and some years it only has the previous year and then the total.
yep, yep.
And that is one of the years. Then you have the 61, which is
This
also a
card has
classic.
grown on me, over the years.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the look of the 61 set it for a long time, and
Same
I
with me.
remember
I
when
thought
it
it
came
was,
out. So
yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
a very long time.
Very long time. To me, it was just a boring looking set.
Yeah,
There
just
was nothing exciting about it.
but
But
that's a great picture.
yeah, it is a great picture, and these are the backs also with some statistics and some cartoons back there. And then going back another year, this is one of the horizontal cards, and this is the 1960. And this is a nice year. I like these. I like this one here because it has the batting and the kind of portrait
Yep.
there. And I like how they did the name with the different colors there too. I like that. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, that's my favorite set. The
Is it
19,
really?
yeah, the 1960s.
Oh,
I love that
nice.
set. But 62 is very, very
Yeah.
close.
Well, I like the 60 also. It's a nice one.
Yeah,
And the back of the 60.
yeah.
And then we could move on to the 50s. The 59. And
That's
that was nice with the red and the facsimile autograph there.
that's the first um, year that I got collected any baseball cards. 1959.
Yeah, no, I started in the late 60s. And here's the back. And one of my favorites is the 58 with the orange.
Yeah,
That is a beautiful card. I just really like that card.
yeah. This is another set that at first I didn't really care that much for, but it's grown on me too.
Yeah.
I'm about to the place now where I really like them all.
I know. That's the problem.
So when I say my
You,
favorite's 1960, it's not by a lot, you know.
same with me. You start somewhere, collecting a few sets, and then the more you look at them, I mean, there's one coming up now, which I hated the card, and now I like it, the 55 Bowman.
Uh huh.
I hated that set
Yeah.
because I didn't like the TV set, but then you just begin to like it. One of the sets that I really like that I think it's underrated is the 57. A lot of people don't like it, but I just like the simplicity of it. They kind of did this similar to the 53 Bowman
Yeah.
when they used an actual photo here. And this one has like a little story on it that supposedly has somebody in the background here, like a
Yeah, right
ghost
there where your
figure.
finger is. Yeah, you if you look at it real close, you can see the dark image or outline of a person. That I don't know how they
Yeah,
got it out of there because they
they said it
certainly
was.
didn't have Photoshop back then, but
Yeah, they
somehow
said it
or
was the
other.
out. Yeah, the tinfoil hat people say that that's the image of Babe Ruth back there, but
Yeah,
obviously that's something back there that darkened the photo or something. But it looks like an image of a person almost
yeah.
if you look at it carefully.
I've heard it said that just somebody who was xed out of it somehow or another.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Yeah,
Because I think that's just hanging around the batting cage or something.
yeah. It was hanging around the batting cage, and it wasn't Photoshop, so
No.
they probably either got some black ink or black marker and just
Yeah.
colored it in somehow because the whole area back there is just all black except for his
Yep.
bat.
Yep. Yep.
But it is around the batting cage, and that's the back of that.
Yeah, I really like that set, and I like the you know the checklists and the two different style checklists. One with bazooka on them, and one with the
Hmm.
big baloney.
Right, right.
And
No,
then there's
it's not.
the
It's
lucky
no,
penny
it's
insert and the
right.
contest cards and everything. I mean, just a lot of stuff going for it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you really like the oddball stuff like that, because none of that is part of the set, but it is part of the master set.
Yeah.
So, and there's different versions of the Lucky Penny and different versions
Yep.
of all that stuff. You could really go crazy
You
trying
sure
to get
can.
that in. And the problem with
Absolutely.
the checklists is they're expensive.
Yeah, they're very, especially
Hmm.
that last checklist card, the
Hmm.
from the Series 4 and Series 5.
Yeah,
That's real pricey and in
yeah,
good condition when it's in good condition.
yeah. I had that set. I ended up selling it, and I kept two cards from the set: that mantle and this mantle.
Yeah,
The last card of the set,
yeah,
the Mantle Bearer.
yep.
And that's
That's
also a
that's
nice
a
set.
great
And
card.
yeah,
Last card in the set.
last card in the set. And for it being the last card of the set, it's relatively inexpensive compared to a regular Mantle card. I mean, it's not cheap, but
Right.
it's a very underrated card of two big Hall of Famers that I guess together have, I don't know, 18 world championships.
Yeah, Yogi had 10, and Mickey
I
had
think
7.
seven or eight, yeah, seven. So
Yeah,
17 world championships. So that's that's a card. If you want to get some Mantle cards, that's
yeah,
a card that's not that expensive. You get that in a low grade. It's pretty cheap actually,
no doubt.
and it's a classic. One of the cards that I think is almost everyone's favorite is the 56.
Yes, yes,
Almost everyone loves this card. It's probably the classic Mantle. That's the Triple Crown, him diving in the stands. And there's a whole story on that photo about the photo and how they made that. And
yep.
so we'll skip that for now, but check into that if you're interested. There's videos on that. And that's just a perfect Mantle picture. So that's one of
That's
my one of
that's
my
his
favorites.
triple crown year.
It's Triple Crown year, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a big one. And World Series champion year, they did everything that year. And then from 56 here, now we go to 55, and that's the 55 Bowman that I was talking
right.
about earlier. That I'm not a huge fan of, but I've grown to love it.
Yeah,
What?
it's one that again I didn't start out really liking it, but I do like it now.
Yeah, it's just the border to me takes up so much of the card that you can't get enough of the Mantle. I want to get more Mantle in the card, but
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but it's still a nice card, and that's the back.
Oh yeah.
And so, Rick, I know that you've got the 54 Bowman, which is the next one, and I
I
know that
do.
you've got some Mantle cards. So let's it's your turn for a bit.
Most of mine are, as we talked about before, are ungraded,
Yeah.
but I have a few, and I wanted to get a better. Uh, in 1987, I think it was. Um, I didn't have very many cards, vintage cards. I was working on the 1987 set because that was the first one when I kind of came back to collecting that I went after. And anyway, I bought a 55 Bowman card. I didn't even know what it was when I bought it, but I knew it was Mickey Mantle, so that was all I needed to know. And so it had a little paper loss on it, which I could top. But anyway, I wanted a nicer example of it, so I went out and bought this one. So this is my replacement car, although I still have the original
Yeah,
one I had. So
yeah,
that's my 54 Bowman.
great, nice.
And,
I see Mike Petty's in the chat. Hey, Mike,
yeah,
want to say hello to Mike. He's a great guy. He's got an incredible collection, and I want Mike Petty to start doing some YouTube videos and show off his collection. But he's like us, Rick. He doesn't have the technology. He told me he'd get an iPhone, so he needs to get his iPhone and get going. That's all I have, right, Rick? You don't need any technology. You just have to show cards.
yeah, it's just really right. Who was it that said, Chris from Missouri said just
Yeah,
push play?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
although
right.
technically I think you push record. So
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming Thursday. New iPhone coming Thursday.
All right. Yes,
That's,
yes, yes.
that's big news, Mike. That's
How
great.
call me, Mike. I'll help you set it up or whatever you need. I'll be your first guest, and I'll
Yeah,
plug your channel. I'll do whatever I can to get you going there, my friend.
absolutely.
So yeah. So you showed the 54. I say one of my favorites is the 53,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that one's for Alex Bowman 53.
Yep. That's it.
I love his live stream show that he has every Sunday night. Whoever hasn't
Yes.
been there, you guys got to check it out. We're all
Yeah.
there.
Perfect.
Yeah. And that's really one of my favorites. At Yankee Stadium, you could see the background there, an
Yep.
actual photo. And this is the year that Bowman really surpassed Topps. And they spent so much money to come up with these photos, and they're just gorgeous. And in the back, this one's a 7 stained because it's got the wax
Yep.
in the back, which a lot of them do. So it's got the wax in the back.
Yep.
I
That's
don't care. It looks beautiful to me.
right. Yeah. You're not, you look at this, you study the stats and you look at the back, but you appreciate them from the front.
Yeah, yeah, and that's how you display them for the most part.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and then I think not I think I know my all-time favorite Mantle is coming up next,
Yeah.
and that's this one,
Yep.
the 53.
Beautiful.
And
Just
we just talked about this before the live stream. We talked about the 53 set. Rick and I, he was showing me his Satchel Paige and a few others from the 53 set. But the reason I'm a big fan of the 53, this is the first real big Mantle card that I had, Yes. The first real big Mantle card that I bought. And I bought that raw and it graded a 6. And it's a beautiful card. Yeah, I'm glad you pulled out the 53 set before the live stream.
um, if you can see this, this would never be a good graded card because it's got writing on the back. But when I
Yeah,
bought it, I thought, hey, this card looks really nice, and I don't care if it's got writing on the back. Nobody's going to ever look at the back,
that's right.
But
That's right.
it doesn't look too bad, though.
It
Really,
looks beautiful. It's sharp. Yeah.
yeah. Still has a lot of good surface
Yeah.
appeal,
And I just like also the back of the 53s because it does have a facsimile autograph there and it has the cartoon. It's just a nice card. It's a nice set. The 53 is one of the nicest sets I think around. 53 was really the big year, the best year. If I were to pick the best year for all of baseball cards, it's the 53.
Yeah, there's not a weakness among them
No,
for sure.
because just two gorgeous sets that came out that year. If you were a kid back in 53, boy, you were in heaven seeing those cards at the drugstore,
Yep.
And then you've got the 52 Bowman.
Another very nice looking card.
Yeah,
They're all
very
good.
nice.
They're all good looking.
They're all good looking. I mean, who's not going to like a Mantle card?
I mean, let's face it. He was a pretty good looking guy.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and then that's the back.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Terry's joined us. TJ Mack.
All right, TJ. Terry got here just in time. We're kind of near the end, but we're going to talk a little bit, and we're still have some.
We're going to talk some more. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not going to leave in the middle of this. This is too good.
No. I showed the 52 Topps in the beginning, so I'm going to show the Mantle rookie, and that's the 51 Bowman.
I'll take a look at mine too.
All right, nice. I love it.
This is the first graded card. I bought it raw many years ago, and then I got it graded last year at the National. And I thought, well, if it comes, I'd be happy if it comes back a 1. and I almost turned myself inside out when it came back at 2.5.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Mine is a 3.
Yeah,
So
so
that's incredible. A 2.5 is just a great grade. Yours looks awesome. Yeah.
it's
Nice
yeah,
car.
it's got
Beautiful.
it has a wrinkle across one corner, and a
Eh,
little bit of a ding there, and so a little
Yeah.
center, just but
Yeah.
it's a Mickey
Yeah.
Mantle.
Mine's got a little stain, it's pretty well centered, but yeah, hey, it's a 3 and yours a 2.5. It's gonna
Yeah,
have something,
sure.
for the most part. But I'm just lucky to have it. I got that in a big collection, probably, oh God, over 20 years, probably 30 years ago. Yeah, it was 30 years ago, over 30 years ago.
Well, listen, let's look at a few of the at a few of the
And I'll show for
models.
Terry. If you missed it, this is the
Yeah,
52.
I mean, it is an absolutely beautiful condition,
Yeah,
but
this is
it didn't make the minimum size.
right.
It's
You're
just
not going to
tragic,
find many better than that.
that's the way it
I
is.
mean,
Wait,
it's just did you get a good look at that? Okay, the glare is terrible.
yeah, yeah. Let me show one other card, and I don't care if we show any of the rest of them, but this is uh, this is the first card I bought at a local card show here in hometown, and I bought it raw. I paid $25 for it. This was in 1986. 1986. So then I about a 3 or 4 months after the no, it's not. I got it graded. Yeah, I bought it. I had it for a long time, and after the national, or when it was in Chicago 3 years ago, I got it graded. And in the meantime, I'd gotten it autographed when I thought, well,
Mhm.
that a lot of people thought that lowered the value of a card when you did that. But I thought, well, I'm not ever going to sell this card. I love Mickey Mantle. I want a card autographed by. I want to hand it to Mickey Mantle
Mhm.
and have him autograph it and shake my hand. That's what I want.
Good
And,
thinking back then, Rick.
and that's what happened. I got that done, and then I had
Show
a
that a little closer so everybody can see it
uh,
without the glare. That autograph
so
on
it's
that
got a
card.
it's a the card is graded 2, and the autograph's graded a 7. So you can see where it's faded a little bit there. Uh, not quite the boldness that you normally associate it with. But this card was touched by Mickey Mantle, so,
Hmm.
and that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
So that's my story
yeah.
about that card. Do you have any other cards you want to show, Orlando?
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to let everybody know that you can get affordable cards of Mantle. You can get cards like this one, and we talked about this earlier here. Well, I
Yeah,
think before we were live, you can get cards like this, which is the league leaders with Roger Maris and Mantle there. You can get, the All-Star cards also are not that expensive. These are not part of the PSA run, the master run, yes, but not the Mantle run.
hmm
So that's those, and here's another one of those. That's from the 59
hmm
All-Star. So, yeah,
this is
you
from the
could get,
62 set. The switch hitter
right,
X, very relatively speaking, a very inexpensive card.
yeah. So, there's the Mantle Boyer card. There's a bunch of other cards. There's this one. This
Yeah,
is a classic
I love
with
that
the
card. Yeah,
with Willie Mays. So there's a lot of cards that you can get that are Mantle with other people, or you can go get some oddball type cards. Also, there's a lot of stuff out there. There you go. You got the exhibit cards. Talk about those a little bit, Rick.
Well, there's, there. I wish you could hear Stoop talk about this, but
Yeah.
Scott, as you know, this is there's several different variations. There's another full size version which came out later. This is actually has the statistics on the back, the red stats. There's another one that's black, and I think that's from the following year. So this is 1962. This one is the photograph was clearly taken in 1951. I can tell you what year the card was issued, but that patch that you see there is the 50th anniversary of the
Okay.
American League, which was 1951. So that's one of the ways you can tell.
Yeah, Stooks is the expert when it comes to the exhibit cards. He knows, and I think he's got
Oh yeah,
all the
yeah.
mantles.
I
He's
I,
got
I
that
think
room.
there's at least five different uh,
Yeah.
variations, I guess,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
poses.
Different years they released them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Here's another beautiful card that I like, and that's the Red Heart.
yeah. That's a great looking card.
Hold that up here. Yeah, that I love that card too. That's from the dog food, Red Heart dog food, and it tells it in the back here. The Red
Well,
Heart.
uh, George Concrete Buddy has joined us. So
Oh, great! Hey, George.
how you doing,
Yeah,
George?
George is a great guy. Him and I have gotten together, and
Well, I get
we've actually,
something else to show.
yeah. Let's
This is
show some
my
autographs.
this is my Mickey Mantle autographed baseball, and again, I got this at the same show that I had him personally sign the card. Um, I didn't actually see him
Autograph.
autograph it, but that's where he signed it. Same show that I
Boy,
got.
that's nice and clean.
This is a Bobby Brown ball, and of course, Bobby Brown was Mickey's teammate at one point in time, I believe.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
He was
So
definitely on the Yankees. He was
yeah.
an infielder, I think, if I remember correctly.
Well, I have an autograph of. I have a few autographs of Mantle. Here's just a photograph. Classic pose of Mantle. And
Beautiful, yeah.
yeah, I'm going to show you another one here. That's the celebration set.
Those
And that's
Perez
a.
Steels are they
I
just
love
look beautiful with the autograph.
these Perez Steel are great, and it comes out great on the camera because it doesn't have glare. Look at that! I just love that how the artwork on those cards they're beautiful. In the back, it's a postcard, and they are numbered when they released that set. So that's
Yep.
the Mantle. But and there's a lot of ways to collect Mantle. That's really what we wanted to talk about. Is just kind of show different Mantle cards
I
and
mean,
just kind of
there's
talk a little bit about the Mick.
he's in the '64 tops stand up set.
Right.
He's in the '64 coins,
The post serial cards.
post serial cards,
There's even Jello
Jello
cards.
card. There's
Yeah,
the Stallmeyer cards.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That
which
Dave Blue Jacket 66 has probably, in my opinion, has probably the best Mantle collection.
yeah,
I
those,
mean, Adam, of course, has an awesome run there that he showed.
yeah.
Um, but you also have people that have awesome, like Vince, New York Yanks fan 7. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
He's got the whole Mantle run also. So there's a few people that do have the Mantle run, and I believe Eric has it. Those back pages.
Yeah.
But he's
Well,
got
we know he's got the 52
we
tops.
know he's got the
We
52.
know where he got it.
Yeah, yeah. And and Mike, baseball collector, I heard him say that he's got everything but that one, and he says that that's one card that he will get. It will be the last card that he'll get in his collection. And that's pretty much what I was thinking. That's what I was saying. It'll be the last card I get in my
Well,
collection. And
I don't know if it'll
but
be
I'm
the
still
last
collecting.
one, but I can't see myself ever getting one of those Stallmeyer cards. I have
Oh
the
man,
Dandy potato chip card.
do you have the dandy?
Yeah, yeah, I do
Oh,
have,
you got it.
and
That's one I'm looking for. I don't have it. If
I'd
you'll
really
get it
like.
if it's close.
Yeah, how's that?
Do you have it around anywhere
Yeah,
close by, or
I put my hands on it. I think.
I mean, we could do. It's gonna be a. We were gonna do an hour live stream, but I don't mind hanging on as long as you want. Rick's got an awesome collection back there. I'm telling you. Look at that card. I need that. That's a beautiful card.
That's the back side of it.
That's in great shape too.
It is in
You got
good
to get.
shape. Yeah, it's got a
That's
little.
when you should get. You
Probably
should probably
should.
get that graded.
Yeah, probably should, but what the heck.
Let me see the front one more time. There it is. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the same picture that's on at least one of the Stallmeyer. I think they might.
Yeah, it's different than this, but
Yeah,
it could be like the Stallmeyer. Yeah,
yeah, I believe that's what it is.
right. Yeah. There's just so many different, you have the coins and you have everything.
Yes.
You have I have it somewhere, I don't have it here, but the game card, 68 game card of Mantle.
Yeah.
That's a pretty inexpensive card that you could pick up.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot of stuff out there. So if anybody wants to start collecting Mantle, you got to start somewhere.
Oh, I got one other thing I'll show you.
Okay. What's happening in the chat? Mike Petty talking about Snow White. I don't know what that is.
Yes, I
Oh yeah, Mike
Petty
says, why isn't Mike Petty said the same thing? Why isn't that graded, Rick? Definitely got to get that graded.
I just never graded it. It probably should be, just to protect it, if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's John 3D86. So Bobby Brown and Mickey were teammates in 51.
Oh, okay.
Here's another little thing.
Oh, the $62.
That's the baseball bucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's hard to see it because it's thin paper, so you can see the back of it through the
right. And those came folded anyway, so it already has a crease.
This one's pretty good. This one's pretty good. It's you can. Yeah, I think this was an insert.
Yeah. But they don't take away from the fold when they grade it.
No. Well, I mean, that's the way it came.
That's the way it was, right? Right.
Fresh from the pack, as they say. But that's there's another coin, two other coins. There's the armor coins, and that has an error in it where they spelled his name Mantel. That one's worth a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Well, John says, I'm surprised to see all of them handled, not in top loaders. Well, that's because they came out of binders.
Yeah.
And I didn't really plan on showing those. So, it's just, hey, it is what it is.
All of mine, all the ones that you saw here, well, most of the ones you saw here were in binders at one time, just like yours, Rick.
Yeah.
They were all in binders and sets. And eventually they were pulled out and graded. But once I got them, they were in that binder. And they stay there and they're fine in the binder. They're not going to get damaged, unless you flip the binder on too fast or something and bend the card. But for the most part, My cards were in binders for many, 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 many years until I graded them.
Yeah, I've had that, I don't know, probably 20 or 25 years, maybe more. Yeah, Terry says there are many Playing Days magazines with Mantle. Uh,
That's right. Yeah.
I finally took the time to dig through all of the boxes that I have magazines and newspapers shoved into. Uh, some of you have heard me talk about my Uncle Bill. He, I grew up with him and just a great guy. And he had a uh, inaugural subscription to Sports Illustrated. So I have the first six
Wow.
issues, including the two that have the
The
54
cards.
cards in them. And
Yeah.
it's actually the second issue that has the Mickey Mantle 54 tops card. Now,
Right.
of course, it's just on magazine paper. It's not like it's
Yeah.
not on card
And
stock.
and it's black and white, right,
And
Rich?
it's black and white. Yeah.
Yeah.
What they did was the second issue is all Yankees, and if you had a card, then it's in color, and if you didn't have a card, so they made a representative card that's in black and white, and all the that's the standard. So black and whites didn't have a regular issue, but Mickey's in that, so it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And it's the front and the back of the card too,
Yeah, the back of the card's in
which is
it too.
cool. Yeah.
And
They
the
did.
same thing, the back of the Mickey's card is black, black ink on white paper, so
Yeah.
it's not like the green
Yeah.
and red. It's no color in it.
Right. Right.
Um,
But that was pretty neat back then. I could just imagine
yeah.
magazine coming out, and then they had the post card with the mantle and the Marist in there too.
Yep,
One year,
that's
and
right. 'Cause
that's pretty neat stuff.
that's one of the variations. That was the advertisement card,
Right.
advertising cards. So, well, we've overstayed our welcome, but I guess if you guys don't mind, I don't mind. We can maybe try to wrap things up a little bit. Orlando, is anything else you want to talk about, or any other stories you want to mention? I mean, I have a
I,
small fortune tied up in books about Mickey Mantle. I probably should sell them and buy car, put it towards a 52 top.
oh yeah, I have the about the 56 season, the Boys of Summer, all those books. I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
if you really want to know about Mickey, buy some books and read about him. He's
yeah.
just
There's no
he's a
shortage.
character. Let me put it
And
this
I
way, he's a
and
character.
I'll tell you something else. It go on YouTube and just look up. He was on the Dick Cavett show,
Right.
many years ago.
Everywhere.
He was on that with let's see, with Hank Aaron, Leo DeRocher, and a former umpire, Tom Gorman. And they had all he had all four of those guys on as a guest, and
Mhm.
I'm I don't know if you remember Dick Cavett's show, but usually they just did one show with whoever the guest was or panel or whatever it was. They actually did three shows, which they filmed in one day. It was just back to back to
Right.
back while they were sitting there. So they're wearing the same clothes in all
Yeah.
three shows, but they didn't. They
Yeah,
filmed it
but
all.
and Mano shares a lot of stories of him
Well, I
and Billy
think I
Martin.
think he was. I'm pretty sure he was drunk. I mean,
Oh, he was
he's
always
giggling and
drunk.
laughing, and
He
it's a
tells you
hoot.
in the stories that after the games, boy, him and Billy Martin would get drunk and they'd do all these crazy things, and
Oh yeah,
they'd sneak back into the rooms and go through the window. And I mean, there's tons of stories of him and Billy Martin.
yeah. Well, that's
Um,
he was. I don't think he was drunk at the time, as I hadn't been there long enough. But when they had that big fight at the Copacabana, that was the last straw for Billy Martin. He got traded like very
yeah,
short time after that, and Hank Bauer also,
yeah,
who actually started the fight, well, he didn't start it, but he was the first to be hit by one of the
Yeah,
guys that was likes to pick on famous people, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. But
Uh,
these guys, Rick, they were a true team because after the games, I mean, and Whitey Ford would always be with them. That was
yeah,
part of the gang. It was
yeah,
Whitey and Mickey and Billy and Hank Bauer. I mean, those guys always they hung around after the
yeah,
games. They hung out
yeah.
together. I mean, nowadays they just everybody they go home to the families and stuff. But in those days, it was kind of different back then.
Well, they said Whitey was usually the instigator for
Yes,
a lot
Whitey
of the
was the kind of like
shenanigans.
the quiet guy in the
Yeah,
background, but he caused the
he's the
trouble.
guy that
Yeah,
says, "Hey, why don't you run over there and run a Chinese fire drill on Broadway or something?" he he'd give them the ideas and then they'd go do it.
yeah, yeah. Well, tons of stories. I mean, and that's the legend of Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
All the
Hey,
things that he went through, and at the end, the alcohol got him. He got liver cancer, and he died, and that was because of all the drinking, unfortunately.
yeah. Mike Petty said he's throwing that dandy around like it's a playing card. He really needs to sell that to a guy like me.
Yeah, Mike Petty wants all the good stuff
Yeah.
for him.
Well,
No
hey,
way, Mikey. No
you
way.
know my motto is: if I ever had it, I've still got it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a one way street. I just
That's
they
it.
come in and they don't go out.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I can appreciate the spirit in which those comments are coming. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree with you more, but like I said, it kind of is what it is. I'm only about 15 months past the first card I ever had graded, so it's just something I never did.
Yeah. 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 Until about maybe, well, I graded all my manuals way back when, but then I had not graded anything else until I started YouTube
Yeah.
about a year and a half ago. Then I graded a whole bunch of cards,
Hmm.
to show off my YouTube. But before that, I had not graded anything other than some mantle cards. And well, no, I graded some of the Goodwin Champion cards with PSA, but
Yeah.
just to select cards here or there. But I'm like you, Rick, a collector. Most of my cards are still raw. The
Yeah.
majority of my cards are still raw.
And
Other
I
than the
thought,
cards that now, because of YouTube, I've begun to do some grading a card and kind of share
well,
that.
the nice thing about set collecting is, you put them in binders and you can see the whole set. Just flipping through the pages, and
Yeah,
I really like that. I mean, I've got some more cards now, that are in are in holders, slabs, and I like them too, and I can appreciate the guys who collect that way. But my the main part of my collection is always going to be those binders.
right.
I've got
Yeah,
a
I still have sets in binders, and the good thing about that is just it's kind of like reminiscing. You go back, you pick up
yeah,
the binder, and
yeah,
once you start looking at that binder, you're back in time. Rick, you
yeah.
forget about where you're at. You forget about all your problems in the world, and you're kind of in your own world, and you're thinking about, to me, just looking at all the players and what happened in that year and all the events and all the stuff. It kind of takes you back in time. And for me, the best way to relax for me is to look at cards. You
Yeah.
know, and in binders you could see a lot of things, and when you put certain cards in binders, you see all the all-star cards together in one page, and all of the World Series cards together on that page, and those kind of things just kind of bring you back.
Yeah, George says back in the '80s I had everything in binders.
Yeah,
That's the one of these days I'll show my binders in the shelves where they are. But they're five uh,
Yeah,
five,
then that back
five
room you got
individual
back there.
shelves within the bookcases. Pardon?
They're in the back room you have back way back
Well,
there.
they're back over this way.
Oh, that way. Okay. So in the other back there's where you have your autographed baseballs.
Yeah, yeah, that's really like kind of in the corner. But anyway, there's like on average 10, one decade per shelf, and there's a uh, let's see, yeah. So it's there's at least seven shelves that are full, and then I'm what four four binders into the eighth shelf. So I don't know how many more God will give me, but there'll be another one up there for
Yeah, for
every
sure.
year.
Well, I know you finished the 48 Bowman, and
Yeah, I got all of the Bowman's
yeah. Now I
48.
think you're working on what now? I know you're working. Well, your long term is the 52 tops.
Yeah, that's the last one. I mean, other than the current year.
Yeah,
So and I've got about I don't know, maybe 150 cards, 52 tops cards, but most of them are commons. And
yeah,
I did get a run of the first 80. That's sort of a subset, I guess.
the first series. Yeah,
That's the ones where they come with red backs and black
and
backs.
black. Yeah.
Those first 80 cards. So, well, I think
Good.
that's probably about it. There's
Okay.
a lot more stuff you can show. I did a tabletop display, and I got the 61 and the 62 stamps, and two or three bazooka cards, and I got a 59 bazooka, which is a nice card to have. It's not in very
Yeah,
great
those are
shape.
nice. Yeah, we didn't talk about the
Probably,
bazookas, but those are some other cards that
you
are kind
you
of
guys
nice to
were
get.
teasing me about handling the cards. Well, yeah,
Mm,
that's the reason why this autograph is kind of faded. I mean, for 30 plus years, uh, it just just sat in the top holder, and I like to look at it. So it's been
mhm.
handled.
Yeah,
Uh, but it will never lose any of its value in my eyes because, like I said, I handed it to him. I asked him to sign it. He signed it. I shook his hand. We exchanged awkward pleasantries because I was just overawed by being in his presence. I don't know, just was a kid
that's
again.
great. That's a
Just a
great,
kid again.
yeah, once in a lifetime memory.
Yeah. Well, Orlando, this has been a lot of fun, and although I'm sorry that Adam couldn't be with us.
Yeah,
I'm not sure we'd have had had to have a 2 hour show to get all the stories in.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it probably
yeah.
would.
Adam has an incredible collection. I wish that he could have shared it with us, but maybe we'll do another one another time
Yeah, that's the beauty of
with
it.
him.
You can
Yeah.
do another video tomorrow. Doesn't have to be good. Yes.
Hey, doesn't matter. We're having fun, and that's what counts.
Yeah, that's right.
And we got Terry, we got Concrete Buddy, we got George, we got Mike Petty, we got a lot of good guys there on the chat there. So that's good
Well,
to see.
I'm so glad that they all came and participated and looked good. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
at
yeah,
least
it's I'm gonna go watch the Marlins game after this,
all right.
playoff game, and
Well,
let's see
good
how
luck.
they do.
Um, I assume some of the games are probably already over. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And some are going on right now, I think.
yeah. Well, all right, Orlando, my friend. It's always good to talk to you, and really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for
Thank you, Rick.
to do this.
Appreciate it, my friend.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys that stuck with us to the bitter end here. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. And,
Thanks, guys. And anybody that follows my channel, follow Rick. And Rick, it's Rocket Rick J.
yep. I don't, unless somebody was watching that didn't disclose the fact that they were watching. I think all those guys are
Yeah.
subscribers now. So,
Yeah.
and I'm subscribers to them, so I watch their
Yeah.
videos too.
Looks like all our buddies are here, but you never know. Just want to make sure you get some
Yeah.
subscribers too,
Right.
Rick.
All right.
All right, guys.
Take care and good night for now. This is Rocket Rig J18 wishing that all your collecting dreams come true.